God.
Oh, shit. Are we okay? Can you hear us all right?
Can I hear you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right there.
No, you know what I mean. You're not funny.
I mean, I haven't changed anything, so there shouldn't.
Oh, it should be fine then.
Yeah, it's picking you up. There we go. Okay, 3, 2, 1. You sucked at that. We're in the same room.
and you still got it wrong, right? 3, 2, 1.
Close enough.
That's close enough. That's fine.
Right, anyway, hi YouTube.
Hi, sorry. We haven't clapped like monkeys for you for a while. But there you go. We did that. Evening all.
Jesus.
No.
Well, I think we're ready. We've kind of leaned right into it tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah. Everyone seems really excited about this one.
It's amazing what a driving force will do.
Yes. Right. Okay.
Crunchy arms.
Crunchy armpits.
Yep.
Told you to wash.
You.
Okay. If everyone's ready, we'll go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once again, it is time for serial viewing, where we take a look back at your old children's television programs that you may have loved, you may have just forgotten about, or may never have heard of, although I'm sure everyone has heard about this one. This week we are doing A.L.F, Alien Life Form. This ran from 1986 to 1990 for 4 seasons, totaling 99 episodes and 3 one-hour special episodes. Hi guys, with me is Jennifer.
Hello.
And Jeremy.
Hey.
Have we got enough room on the sofa tonight?
It's tight.
Cozy.
Cozy. So, A.L.F is an alien from the planet Melmac who follows an amateur radio signal to Earth and crash lands into the garage of the Tanners, a suburban middle-class family who live in the San Fernando Valley area of California. The family consists of social worker Willie, his wife Kate, their teenage daughter Lynn, and their younger son Brian, and the pet cat Lucky. We watched Series 1, Episode 1, just titled A.L.F, in which the Tanner family meet A.L.F for the first time and decide to keep his presence a secret to protect him from the US government who would want to experiment on him. From the beginning, there is no sanity for the Tanner family.
Well,
Has anyone heard, apart from me, has anyone heard of A.L.F before?
Of course. It was my choice. I loved A.L.F.
Oh yeah, it was your choice. Why did you choose A.L.F?
Because it's a great TV show from when I was a kid.
from when I was a kid.
Why did I say it was a great TV show? So this is your fault that I had to watch this.
That was fun. It's an enjoyable 25 minutes.
Well, I'd heard of A.L.F. Never, ever, ever, ever remember watching it. I remember what he looks like.
I was going to say, did you know what he was?
I knew it was an alien thing, monster thing, puppet. And that's all I got.
That's all you got.
I didn't realise it was a sitcom.
Yeah, I had forgotten just how sitcom-y it was, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very, very... Well, however, I have mixed opinions and thoughts about that. Sorry, I had a stroke.
Told you not to do that in the middle of a podcast. So go on then, why were you conflicted about it?
Not about how I viewed it, but actually, yes, how I viewed it. It was more of, I'm not sure it was 100% meant, it was 100% meant to be taken seriously.
No. Oh, yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from.
It's almost like I started questioning whether or not it was a sitcom to be a sitcom or to take the piss out of sitcoms.
I think they meant it as a sitcom.
I do.
Yeah.
I think they were being quite earnest about it.
But it's the way it was handled. It felt like it was a sitcom like taken out of the 70s and 80s that was then had a puppet. It just seemed a bit different, if that makes sense. It seemed a bit too much cliche.
It was it was extremely formulaic.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Even down to the music, the score, the family, the clothes, the set, how it was the film, what it was filmed onto the tape. You had that particular look that American sitcoms had from the late 80s and early 90s.
Vaseline on
Yeah, it couldn't have been any more generic sitcom, which surprised me.
Apart from the fact they had a 3-foot alien in it.
Yeah,
Well, a little dude in an alien suit.
So
Yes.
I've already mentioned the music. Well, how did you guys feel about the opening credits, the theme tune?
So the theme song,
Yeah.
it sounded like very 80s US sitcom, very 80s, but it also sounded weirdly like 90s UK hospital drama.
Oh my god.
I mean, it sounded just like it's not Holby City. There was like this TV show.
Casualty.
No.
ER?
In the 90s, and it was it was set in a hospital, and it was a documentary.
Right.
But it sounded it sounded almost exactly the same as that.
Well, I put
But ER, all of them.
my last note on my notes was this music would not be out of place in a medical show.
Yeah.
Because it was Doogie Howser. If you had told me that was the theme tune to Doogie Howser, I would have gone, yeah, right.
It didn't trigger with me for that, but I definitely get like it did seem quintessential sitcom. Lots of like slap bass for some reason, and very happy music, and for some reason, yeah. I mean, in my head, it was just quintessential sitcom from the 80s.
It is
Yeah.
really
But
middle of the road.
To a point where it almost felt like they were taking the mick out of it.
Do you think they're being unintentionally ironic?
I think so. I did write that down. Is this actually? I can't tell if this is a huge amount of sarcasm or if this is completely intentional. I don't know. It's either one of the two.
You're probably getting some sort of bleed through from everybody who's working on it who wasn't particularly happy about it.
Did you get that
Thought
as
it was
well?
a bit of a joke. Nobody. Well, I mean, one of my notes is that the only actor that I have any knowledge of is the dad. The dad went on and did other stuff. Now I looked at all the others, and they all had some. They all stuck around in US TV for a few years, but none of them were massive.
No, well, Max Ryder's the name of the dad, Willie, and he did loads of.
Willie.
Yeah, everyone kept saying Willie, and then the 9-year-old in me just kept giggling every
Yeah.
time everybody said it.
Yeah, I put Willie. Ha ha ha.
But Max Wright was quite a big US
Immature.
actor. He was one of those people that was in a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He looked familiar, but I don't think I'd ever seen him in anything.
So the opening scene is Willie banging on about how this all started, and then there's a little scene where did you pick up? I don't know if you picked up on this, Jez, but he was talking to his wife, and he's got, we've got this signal. I don't know what it is. We're bouncing off I can't remember what he said, like a satellite or a pulsar.
Yeah.
And then he jumped on the CB and started talking. Mm-hmm. So if he thinks it's a pulsar, why is he talking to it?
I think he was trying to communicate with someone else. Is what I
that's
got.
what I
Really,
got.
it sounded like he
But-
was trying to call them.
If it's a pulsar, why is he trying to communicate with
Yeah,
someone
that was
else?
my immediate point.
No, I mean, like, if it's nothing in, like, specific, unless that's his job, it's never explicitly explained in this episode what he does for a living. So he might track these. I thought they were at an observatory, and they were like, oh, this is data, I need to punch it in.
He's a social worker.
Oh, well,
That's just a hobby. The whole CB thing was just a hobby.
Yeah.
then maybe he's just a massive nerd and loves this sort of stuff.
That's it. I got that he was a real science nerd, especially
or
from
space
all the sciencey, spacey jokes that were being told.
Wait.
Only him and his daughter were getting it.
You guys saw jokes in this?
Shut up! I
Hang on.
laughed.
I laughed a couple times. Not loads. I just went, huh.
I know, I'm being facetious. I did. There was a couple of times it did make me laugh. But
As much as any other sitcom would.
The
Yeah.
dad. So the dad in this
yeah.
is Phoebe's estranged dad in Friends.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is that him?
Yeah, Terry. Is it Terry?
He seems shorter in that.
Yeah.
No.
No, is it Terry? I can't. No, Frank.
No, Frank.
Hang on.
Frank is her dad.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway,
Yeah, Frank Buffet. Hang on then, I might have got it wrong.
it looks kind of similar now you mention it.
He is in Friends.
Ah,
So
probably.
Max Wright, apparently the tensions ran high on the set whilst they were making this all the way through for all the four
Really?
series. Yeah, it was really technically demanding. So like a 30-minute episode would sometimes take anywhere between 20 to 25 hours to film
Yeah, I
because
can
of
get
all
that.
the puppetry and all that. And from what I've read, Max Wright hated the show. Reportedly, during the last season, tension on set was so high that Max Wright, again, he actually attacked the A.L.F puppet, screaming, "Put us all on sticks, we're all puppets."
Jesus.
When the final day of taping ended, they've wrapped, they finished, right, we're done. He immediately went to his dressing room, grabbed all his stuff, and just left without saying goodbye. He was so happy. He was done. He was just wanted out.
Yeah. I mean, I would say Dick, but it sounds like he didn't have a good time.
Yeah. There's a chap called John LaMotta who plays the neighbour's husband, whose name
Yes.
Ohajek, whatever it is.
Miss Atrixky or something.
Yeah, he said in an interview later on that he thought A.L.F was, and I quote, "a piece of shit and the worst work I ever did."
Wow.
Yeah.
Hang on,
a lot
let's
of
see
hate
what
for
else
this.
he did. 'Cause
He wasn't in. I did have a look it up. He wasn't. He's one of those American actors that was in a lot of TV shows, but nothing
Substantial.
major.
so that's a joke then, isn't it? I mean,
Well, I mean, it's weird because
he doesn't even get a picture on IMDb.
I didn't feel that way about the show watching it. It just felt like a sitcom to me, and there were bits that kind of made me giggle, or a little bit that made me like, haha, I see what you did there. But like, I didn't hate it.
Well, Paul, this was created
Yeah,
by a chap called Paul Fusco,
right.
who was also the voice actor for A.L.F, the lead puppeteer, and he helped produce the entire show.
Right.
And it said that on, say, a Monday, they would write a funny show. They would have a funny script. And by Friday, all of the best and funniest lines had been given to A.L.F
Right, I see.
Right.
by Paul Fusco.
It does seem like it's only A.L.F.
It's the A.L.F show.
Yeah.
But and I mean that just more than it's a show about him. It's all about him. The others are just there to feed him lines.
Yeah. I could see how... I mean, we only watched one episode, but if that's the case, I can see how there's no character development, there's no... And it would get really stale and frustrating for all the other actors doing the same stuff and then just talking to a puppet 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So A.L.F crashes into their garage, which is fine. I'll give it that. They bring him into the living room and dump him on the table. And then there's lots of "he's hairy" jokes.
Well, yeah.
Can anyone? I particularly disliked a single member of this cast.
The mum?
No, it wasn't the
Nah,
mother.
I'll be the kid.
It was the
The
kid.
little kid that you found
The
annoying.
little kid?
He was awful.
He just seemed like an 80s...
Generic 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's the problem because the whole thing had that schmaltzy, Americana, cute, whatever.
That's why I thought it was a joke, because it just seems too like... It seemed on the nose. It seemed like...
To me, it felt like the network were trying to make it as safe as possible, as middle of the road.
Well, I don't know, he drank beer.
Yes, that didn't last because
Ah.
it got more popular with children. The alcohol drinking had to go away. In one of the episodes, he films a bit where he goes into the bath with I think it was a toaster or something, and he electrocutes himself and forgets his thing. And then he does, at the end of the show, there's a little like public service announcement. He says, "Don't do that, kids." But because of the popularity of the show, loads of kids watched it, and of course some kid took a toaster into the yeah, electrocuted. So they had to redub it, reshoot it where he goes into the bath with a manual whisk, one of those whisks on a handle. But the show got really popular with children, but it was never meant to be aimed at children. It was supposed to be a slightly older family show, And Paul Fusco wanted to push the boundaries of what he could get NBC the network to do. He wanted the risque jokes. He wanted more jokes about them eating cats. There's one of the episodes where A.L.F. I don't know if he pretends to have Tourette's or if he mocks someone with Tourette, or he makes fun of it, but he shells like ass repeatedly, and it felt like he wanted to go in a particular direction, and then the producers and the network were kind of like, no, let's just steer that back towards.
I will say that I kind of remembered it different. I remembered it being a lot more grown up, and I remember Alf being a lot more
With an ass.
Yeah, old man in a kid suit. That, you know, he was the drinking, and I swear I remember him not really bad swearing, but swearing.
I think it would have been a way better show if he proper
Yeah.
let rip.
It would have been good.
I think that was So I don't. This was way too, like you say. This was a lot safer than I remember it being.
I think as well, if they'd have done it, if they had taken that, like what you were saying about the Tourette's, if they'd taken that, like, Alf doesn't understand anything, so he takes the absolute piss out of everything, and at the end of the episode, he would have said, "Oh, I've learned my lesson." You know,
I think it would have
learned that's not right. You know, because he's an alien, so he doesn't know this stuff.
And they could have crammed a teaching moment in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then it would have been like Paul, but for kids.
But because there's the cat eating thing, where on his planet on Melmac they farm cats as cattle, and they eat them, and he's forever chasing after the cat. Running joke: have him eat the cat. And they constantly got new cats.
Yeah.
Or have him eat the cat and then ask where the cat is.
It would have been funnier.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that got me is that the cat food was a good alternative to cat. That kind of
Yeah,
is that
you said
saying
it like
something
the
about
roughage.
what's actually in cat food?
Because he said he liked the roughage, so I assumed it was just the bits of cat, which is quite good. I think.
So, what parts did make you laugh? You both said that you laughed out loud. What made you laugh out loud?
Some of the jokes.
Yeah,
Not all
some
of
of the
them.
stupid-
That one joke.
I didn't really write a lot of them down. But I viewed it as if he was constantly being sarcastic and taking the piss out of everyone. Like everyone was being like slightly pandering to him because he was an alien, but he knew all this stuff.
Right.
So he was just like, oh, you need a towel. Oh, she's nosy. Oh, this'll do, won't it? Like, I'll get you some toilet paper here. Like, it's almost like he was doing it deliberately to be an arse. So it made it funny to me.
The bit where he wakes up in bed, or the mum wakes up in bed next to him, and everyone starts screaming at each other. That made me laugh. That was funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
And there was the bit in the credits where he's got the video camera and he's filming her coming out of the shower and she's saying, no, stop it. But he keeps filming her.
Yeah, that's a bit.
It was a bit weird, but I found it kind of funny. That, like, the fact that
There are probably
would be a good character.
There are probably furries out here that like A.L.F for all the wrong reasons.
Probably.
So they decide to keep him for a day, as you would. The social worker decides he's going to try and fix his spaceship, and he claims that he hasn't done it because he just doesn't have the parts for it. So he knows how to fix it.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have the
Yeah, I read that
whatever,
down.
the quantum flugger.
I found that amusing.
The canned laughter, because this, all right, so it took 20 to 25 hours to film each one, so they couldn't do it in front of a live audience. What are your thoughts on canned laughter?
I don't like it anyway. And this was it was so obvious. I'd rather there wasn't any laughter.
Yeah, it's almost insulting.
It's
like,
forced, yeah.
Laugh here. This is the funny bit.
Yeah.
I don't mind it because it wasn't over the top. It wasn't like, okay, like Henry hates Big Bang Theory. For the main one of the reasons being the fact that like the laughter in that is really over the top.
Oh,
Ridiculous.
yeah.
Nothing on that show is that funny.
No, but I mean it's like it was ridiculous the amount of laughter that was coming out. It was kind of subdued, but I also agree with the fact that it was in places where it just wasn't funny, and it just didn't need to happen.
Yeah, I don't like being told. I don't like being told what's funny.
Yeah.
If I find it funny, I'll laugh.
Yeah, but I find that from 80 sitcoms.
Yes.
Even in the UK, they all suffered from that when they had the canned laughter.
See, I don't mind it because it sometimes coaxes me into laughing, and I'm okay with that because laughing's nice. You miserable people.
Laughing's fun. The acting from all of them, bearing in mind that the mum and dad were both experienced actors.
Well, so was the daughter. She'd been doing it since she was a little kid.
Now, was it just me, apart from the braces and the fact she was dressed as a typical 80s teenager, she looked like a middle-aged woman to me.
Oh, that's just you.
I think that might just be you.
Yeah,
it might
no.
be. Yeah, they're bad actors. All of it's not good, and I don't know if they just hadn't got comfortable with it yet.
I think
Yeah,
maybe
I think there's that. There's also, I think, that you get it quite often when they're acting with puppets, is that they tend to overact.
Yes.
And I definitely got that feeling that overacting, because they, to them, they were just acting with somebody who was a little dude in a suit.
Yeah.
They hadn't really got their head around.
Yeah, or some guy's hand in a sock.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, A.L.F was controlled by 3 puppeteers. Paul Fusco he was the main puppeteer. He did the mouth and the right arm. There was another puppeteer doing the left arm, and then there was somebody with a remote control doing like eyebrows and fingertips and things, random stuff like that. And then when you can see A.L.F running around in its full body, that was a 2-foot 9-inch actor called Michu Mezaros wearing an A.L.F costume. Who, because he was expensive, or they were expensive, and it cost a lot to get the shots. You don't see that again after the first series.
Yeah,
Right.
see, I don't remember that. I was surprised at how much I saw that, and I was like, I don't actually remember that from watching it.
They phased it out
kid.
because they didn't like it. It didn't. They felt it didn't work, and it was too expensive.
It took me out of the character, because when you look at him face on, I
He's a
see
Muppet.
a grumpy old Muppet.
Yeah.
When you see him running around, I see a little
He
kid.
looks- yeah.
See an
in a
Ewok.
I see an Ewok. That's it.
Yes,
Yes, an Ewok.
Yes.
That was what I was seeing.
Also, he was really short, and it confused me a bit because I was like, okay, so he's a small person, but like he's really short. I was like,
2'9".
is that yeah? It was like very, very short. But yeah, I mean, I get what you mean, and as well, like when it's him talking, it does look different to him walking.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something off. It's the same. It looks the same, but there's just something off about it. Like even when he's sitting down, it's not any because you can tell nobody's in that. It's a puppet. Like he's not moving at all.
It didn't help us though that when I was talking, it reminded me. It sounds like Ron Swanson talking.
Yeah.
So he was like talking about beer and eating cats and hunting and whatever.
Beer and protein.
Brooklyn
And then he
Ron
was
Swanson.
running around and he looked like a little kid, and I was just like, wait, that's Ron Swanson.
Mm-hmm.
So I did get that.
So they decide to keep him. Mr. Tanner is taking a shower,
Yeah.
and he says, right, get out, I want some privacy, but he never actually makes him get out. Right, don't go near the window, don't open the blinds, you can't let the neighbours see you. So Alf immediately opens the blinds and starts waving at her. It seems a little forced, but there you go. So she actually called the military, who show up looking for A.L.F. Conveniently, seconds after the family have a chat about what the government will do to him if they catch him.
Well, yeah.
They lie to the government, which I'm sure is against the law. And that's it. That's the whole first episode.
Pretty
Well,
much.
see, kind of, so it was all a bit far-fetched for me.
You mean the show about the alien was
Well,
perfect?
you got a grumpy old woman, so she sees, right, so her first thought is that it's an alien, not that it's some really ugly dog.
Yeah.
Or it's something like that. Her first thought is, oh, that's an alien, I'm going to call
She
the
is
US
neighbours
military.
with where the alien landed and crash landed.
Well, there's
So-
but that could have been
a plane,
any
yeah. It
crash
could have
or
been a plane.
anything. Yeah, it happened in the middle of the night.
This is what you
Your
don't
first
see.
thought is not going to be aliens.
Yeah.
There's a massive flying saucer sticking out of there.
It's not
Yeah.
really. But it's
And how did the military man not see that?
Well, he says that because the way what he says though is that they're looking for an A.L.F. That they're looking for. So to me, he didn't get told. They obviously had spotted the what do you call it? The spaceship
Spaceship.
on their radar, and they'd seen that it had landed, and that's why he'd come to the thing. It was a bit of cross purposes. There was 1 minute he was being a military guy, and then the next minute you have some grumpy old nosy lady from next door telling him what.
Yeah.
And also he was right. I don't know, maybe because it was a kids' TV show, but nowadays there wouldn't have been any of this. Oh, okay, then I'll believe you. And then him sodding off. It would be, no, you're under arrest, and we're taking your house. You're all coming with us.
Well, yeah.
And we will be searching your house and taking the obvious spaceship.
Men in hazmat suits kicking the door down.
But first off, he wouldn't have announced he was from Alien Task Force.
No.
Nor would he have announced that he's from Edwards Air Force Base.
No.
Which is Area 51.
Men in dark suits just hanging around. That's what you get.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I mean, are we being unfair? This wasn't aimed at. Well, it wasn't.
Well, I still like it. I would still watch more. I still wanted to carry on watching more.
I'd watch more of the first season. I feel like anything past that, it might be so obvious that everybody hates it.
I don't know. I remember it does. It is. I think it does get better in the second or third series. There is one of the series where, because the mum is actually pregnant in real life, they have a baby.
Yeah.
So I remember that.
Alf eat the baby.
Baby Eric.
So, I don't know. I think it does get better.
I think it would have got better once everyone got more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Because this was obviously first episode. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm ragging on the acting, but they were getting used to it. They were getting into it. Mm-hmm. It's a new concept for everyone involved.
Yep. Yeah. Sesame Street.
Did anyone get Alf's real name?
Yes. Gordon
Shumshaw, something like that.
I only got Gordon.
Yeah.
I think this is what you said.
So I quite like that he had his real name Gordon. But he is just an American.
Yeah.
From space.
Mm-hmm. He's a fat ass hairy guy. Short fat ass hairy guy.
Have any of you seen there was a spin-off to this called A.L.F. the Animated Series in 1987. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, you just triggered a memory. I don't remember ever watching it, but I remember seeing like the trailer for it and like an animated A.L.F. and thinking it was very scary. Being very young, seeing the trailer.
I had completely forgotten about it. It wasn't until I was looking up the show and I saw it, and I actually saw the title card, and I was like, oh yeah, they made a cartoon out of this, which seemed like a natural extension.
Mm.
So this started in 86, and then in 87, once it became apparent to them how popular it was with children, they then cranked out the animated series, which was a prequel following Alf's life on Melmac. And that ran for 2 seasons. And then A.L.F. the animated series had its own spin-off series. So you had a spin-off from a spin-off, which was a little bit more bizarre, called A.L.F. Tales, which was the characters from the animated series, but playing various characters from fairy tales.
What?
Oh, I suppose like
it was a bit like
moral tales.
Yeah,
Grimm's fairy tales.
It was a bit fourth wall breaking because it would occasionally have people like one of the characters was from a guy from the network. Who would then talk about try and advise Alf how to make it a better show. It was all very strange.
Sounds like a YouTube concept idea.
It was, it's really strange. There was also in 2004 Alf's hit talk show, which featured Alf as a like a Johnny Carson type TV talk show host, and it co-starred Ed McMahon. And you had guests like Drew Carey, Tom Green, Merv Griffin, and there were 7 episodes of that.
I do remember that.
I'd never heard of that. That seems like such a bad idea.
No. And I
Actually
thought it was quite funny because it was done later. So I swear he drank and he swore. It was a lot more. It was grown up.
Alf as he should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That would make sense.
If he's like wearing like a white shirt with like red suspenders and had a cigarette, and he was just like Larry King.
Larry, yeah.
Yeah, there is part of me.
I suppose that, I can get that. So they did 4 series, 99 episodes and 3 1-hour specials. I'm assuming the 1 hours were at the end of each series. And they left it on a cliffhanger, the whole thing on a cliffhanger. Yes. Because it was going to get a 5th series, but didn't. It got cancelled.
Right.
So it kind of I think in the last one he kind of gets captured by the military. And then the 5th series, it was planned the Tanners weren't going to be in it, and it was going to be him on a military base,
Right.
being all sassy and everything. But it never happened. So it was left on a cliffhanger. So they made in 1996, they made a movie, a straight-to-TV movie called Project A.L.F, which starts immediately after the final episode, but it failed. It didn't go anywhere. No one particularly liked it. No one asked for it.
Well, it's a straight-to-TV movie.
Yeah. In 2012, late 2012, Sony Pictures Animation bought the rights and claimed that they were going to make a CGI live-action feature film,
Okay.
which just disappeared into development hell, never been heard of again. And then in 2018, Warner Brothers announced that they were going to produce an A.L.F reboot that was going to be focused on A.L.F returning to Earth with a new family and characters. But then a couple of months later in 2018, that was cancelled. So they've tried to bring it back a couple of times and no one's really been interested.
Well,
I think it would get lost unless you made it how we said it should be made, which is really like blue, X-rated,
yeah.
grown up, late Channel 4, you know,
Lay on the sarcasm, lay on the beer,
sarcasm.
he eats the
It basically-
cat.
he probably
Paul.
smokes weed, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
He
that'd be
eats
riff-
cat.
He's got a skanky girlfriend, you know.
I want Spaced, but A.L.F.
Ooh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, he somehow duped some woman into sharing an apartment with him because he couldn't get an apartment on his own.
It'll be a furry, full-time furry.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's
Who
his
just
job.
thinks that he's sharing with another furry.
Yeah. We've got gold here, guys.
All right, I would watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think it's been done with Paul, that kind of concept that we want
Yeah.
as well. Like, I think that.
Do you
was
think
kind
there's a
what they
bit
want.
of A.L.F in Paul's DNA?
Yes.
The whole sarcasm.
Well, I think
thing?
they looked at A.L.F and were like, "How can we make this better?" Or they remember
Yeah.
watching it and then
Yeah,
would've
definitely. I mean,
written something
Frost
like,
and Peg are our age, so I definitely think.
Oh yeah, they would have watched
definitely
it.
up
Yes,
for.
they would have watched it.
Mm.
Yeah, I get that. So A.L.F was the first Western TV show shown on Bulgarian TV.
Bulgarian.
Bulgarian. Blah, blah, blah. And it was extremely popular in Germany.
Really?
It was, yeah. Well, when I was looking for the video for us to watch, the first versions I found were all in German, which was a bit weird. But the actor who did A.L.F's voice in Germany was somebody called Tommy Piper. They actually recorded, it was so popular, they recorded 2 albums and had 4 singles as A.L.F. between 1988 and 1991. Now, I know British pop music in the 80s was bad. I can't imagine the state of German pop.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm gonna-
Europeans terrible.
I'm going to look up and see how it did in the German charts because that just sounds awful.
Yes, please.
Let's have a look.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was something.
Did you pick up on the score at all, Jeremy?
It sounded like 80s sitcom.
It was yeah.
Was
Every
it?
now and again, it would get quite
Ding-ding-ding-ding-ding.
schmaltzy. It wasn't good.
Last time on A.L.F.
Yeah, very much like that.
A.L.F. was filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Wasn't good.
Pretty much that. Yeah.
So they, at the time, A.L.F. was one of the most expensive 30-minute sitcoms that had been produced. It was down to all the technical elements and the fact it took so long to film an episode. To cover costs, NBC licensed the character. They made toys, breakfast cereals, T-shirts, slapped him on lunchboxes. There was a huge merchandising blitz, which is one of the reasons it lasted for so long as a show, because they had invested
Yes.
in doing all this merch. So they wanted to keep the show going to keep interest.
So
Go.
maybe that's an idea to bank for the future.
I think we need a cereal viewing lunchbox.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch.
Cereal viewing cereal.
Yes.
We need to get special bowls and sell them.
I'm going to see if I can find someone who'll print me up a cereal box.
We could do that.
So yeah, they did all that. There was a board game just called the A.L.F game that was released in 1987, where the players played as A.L.Fs, up to 4 of them, played as A.L.Fs, where they were trying to find and eat the neighbour's cat.
See, I'd bet that.
While the neighbour was trying to stop them. There was like a non-player character moves around, and the Tanners were all in it, and the A.L.Fs could hide on the squares that the Tanners were in.
Was that it?
That was pretty much it. The first A.L.F to eat a cat wins the game.
Wait, that's.
Oh, bells are ringing.
Yeah, I think somebody had a. I think one of my mates had that game. You know, that sounds really familiar.
Nope.
Little A.L.Fs.
Now, I had never heard of these, but apparently there was quite a few computer games.
Why?
Well, I'll let you judge the quality of these, because so in '87 we had A.L.F. the First Adventure on the Commodore 64, the Apple II, IBM, and Atari ST.
Yeah.
Then in '88 you had Add and Subtract with A.L.F. A.L.F's US Geography. A.L.F's Thinking Skills. A.L.F's World of Words. And A.L.F's Party Kit. So basically, they just licensed it to a bunch of educational crap to give just to sell to schools.
Evidently so.
In 1989, there was a game called A.L.F for the Sega Master System. And then I think it was around 2000, A.L.F Defender of Earth, which was a PC game.
It's just going to be Space Invaders, isn't it?
Now, I used to play it way back in the day, back when you had some proper, like in the heyday of like renegade games companies where the games were on cassettes and they were real small houses and they were doing whatever they want. I had a game called, it was something called like How to Be an Utter Bastard. And the idea that you went to a party and you were there to be as unpleasant as you could. So you could like plug the toilet or be sick in someone's coat pocket or stuff like this.
Oh.
Now, a game like that, where A.L.F is walking around eating cats and being as unpleasant as possible, would be fantastic.
Ah, yeah. Like some Leisure Suit Larry stuff.
Yes, yes. Something properly off the wall.
Offensive as hell.
Yes.
Maybe basically A.L.F just needs to be offensive. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
As offensive as possible.
It needs to be chaotic, sarcastic, proper sarcastic, foul-mouthed, get some slapstick and some shock humour in there. What I think it was meant to be.
Just cut to close-up of A.L.F burying a dead body, crying with
Yes,
blood all over him.
that kind of stuff.
They'll never know.
That would make me laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think this... Do you think it got better? Do you think it got funnier?
What do you mean? Well, as the show went on?
Yeah.
I think it did. Well,
Did
I
I?
remember it
I only watched one
better
episode.
than
Because
this.
not to spoil my review or my ratings, this was absolute trash. Yeah, I laughed a couple of times, but that wasn't enough to save it.
Well, the way you described it, I feel like this is probably the height of the film because it's just going to be downhill if they all hated it afterwards.
Well,
Well,
so
I think maybe a few weeks in when they started getting their paychecks and realised how popular it was,
Yeah.
they probably... And the fact that as well that they all
Maybe.
stuck around for
they
seasons.
did do 4 seasons.
They can't have hated it that much.
That's
I
true.
think the first season probably was the worst. And then they started to change things up a bit, but...
I don't know. I might be tempted to watch a different season just
Yeah.
to see if it is any different.
There was a bit creepy in there. So Alf and the kid, like, well, we're really thirsty. They're watching TV, like, we're really thirsty. So they go into the kitchen, get a couple of beers.
Yeah.
The kid's got a beer. They come out and like, Mum takes it away, and then Alf is standing there with the kid next to him, talking to the mum, and he's got one of his arms around him. Okay, which is fine, but if I can find it, I'll put it up on the next bit. He's like running his hands up and down the kid's side.
Right.
And like these fingers are kind of like just tapping. It looked really. I wouldn't normally notice it, but I was bored by that point.
This is one of those things that looks weird.
And it just looked weird. And I know one of the puppeteers was. I'm sure it was completely innocent. It was unintentional. It was just to show that it was an arm, and it's not just like a thing on a stick. But it just felt a bit weird.
Right, okay.
I didn't see that.
No, I didn't notice it, but I mean, like, they were holding hands and, like, sitting down watching TV beforehand. So like, I mean,
Yeah, and he had, when he was sitting down, he had his arm through his arm.
Yeah.
I got it more of, it was two 6-year-olds hanging out together.
But Alf's 288.
but it is a bit.
Yeah,
it is
but
a bit weird.
we don't know that at this point.
Yeah, it's a bit weird that he sounds like a New York and like,
It sounds like, it's Ron Swanson, sounds like Ron Swanson.
New York and Ron
sounds like an
Swanson.
old man, I see, yeah. Yeah, there was that bit of, and that's what I said about the fact that when he gets up and walks away,
It then turns into a child.
You see
yeah.
you see an Ewok. But when he comes back again, he's talking like a 80-year-old man drinking beer.
yeah,
But yeah,
it's a bit of a weird juxtaposition.
Would you recommend this? You said that you'd be interested to carry on watching the first series. Would you?
I don't.
yeah, I'd probably go and hunt it out and
Yeah.
on board. Yeah, go
Watch
and
a couple
it all.
more?
I'm
Yeah.
curious because I want to see if the same tone is taken throughout all the episodes, or if it gets like more like obviously intentional. That's what I mean. I still feel like it wasn't 100%. Like there was a lot of sarcasm in this. Like that whole thing with the kid and the fact that like he changes like the way he acts depending on who he's with, almost feels like he's taking the piss out of people deliberately.
I think that was because he's trying to manipulate them into hiding him.
Yeah, I thought
So
I
he
got
knows
that too.
he knows the kid, he knows the dad, and he knows the daughter are on his side. But the mum's the one that he's got to get on his side.
Yeah.
So he's got to play to her sympathies, which is why it was and because he then was triggering the 6-year-old going, oh no, don't make him go away, I love him. And of course then you're triggering her mothering instincts.
Yeah,
But the whole kid, like, oh, don't take him away. I really love him. You've met what is essentially someone's dirty uncle.
yeah, but he's
Yeah,
not
but the
acting
kid
like
And
he's
you've
doesn't
known
seem
him for
like
like a
that.
day.
The kid sees him like a talking dog.
Well,
I
he sees him as
suppose.
ET because he said he watched ET.
Yeah.
And like that's
I will say
So
this
he watched E.T. and he wasn't immediately terrified.
we're not in the 80s.
I saw E.T. in the 80s and I was terrified.
I wasn't terrified, but this is better than E.T.
But I did write down. I mean, is A.L.F freeloading? Is he is he taking these people for a ride? And like
I bet at some point he gets a job. I bet at some point in the series
I
he
think
ends up
he
with a
does,
job.
doesn't he? He becomes like a bag boy in a supermarket. Oh,
So,
God.
yeah,
I don't know, I can't remember now.
I bet he does though.
and I also it's just it all seems like non-intentional. I'm still hold by that. I mean, like, but I don't think that kid is as well 6. Definitely.
I don't know how old he's supposed to be. He
Well, he's
He
supposed
does-
to be 6, but I don't think he is 6 when he's done the filming. I see
It's
what
just-
Jeremy said.
so annoying.
What would have been good because they were watching Sesame Street, and I mean I think that kid's too old for Sesame Street, but
Whoa. Can you be too old for Sesame Street?
I think maybe. But it would have been nice if they'd done a meta joke where A.L.F had been watching Sesame Street and been like, hey, that guy looks like me.
Yes, that would have been good.
These are
Yeah.
aliens. Eh?
So the kid was 8 when this was being filmed.
Uh,
So he's a couple of years older. But then
Okay.
you've
that's
got
close enough.
you've got that 80s and 90s, and then they probably still do it now. Is that where you find in actors that young
They play,
that can act?
Oh yeah. No, I mean I just
Well,
he
yeah,
seemed older than that to me.
Just look at any
Yeah.
high school American TV show
Yeah.
where all of the teenage actors are 25.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're saying what she was 16 or 17.
Yeah,
We're saying that-
18 at a push. Her
So-
IMDb photo is fantastically 80s.
Yeah, I mean, she was born in 1969, so she would have been 16.
What was
well,
this,
she would have been
80?
17.
Oh, so that's about right. She had big 80s hair.
Yeah.
Who didn't?
That's very true. The dad.
That's true. Very
So-
80s era, though.
Would either of you recommend this to someone with kids? Would it be worth their time?
Maybe not with kids. Depends. Like maybe. Nah, probably not.
No?
I don't know if you've got one of those kids that has watched everything. They would. I don't know actually about children these days. They probably wouldn't. You know, they have the attention span of a dead gnat, so I don't think they would
That's-
probably sit on this.
I've struggled with this
maybe
question a lot.
because A.L.F is a bit more of a Muppety kind of character, so he's a bit different. That you might be able to get them to sit for a while and watch this, and of course you get all the silly kids humour in it, like the roll of toilet paper. So maybe a little bit younger. So maybe what we're talking 5, maybe 5 or 6.
Well,
Maybe, but I mean,
But no, I probably wouldn't.
so that's 2. Well, I wouldn't. So that's 3. That's 3 I wouldn't recommend. Which leads us nicely into the rating.
No, I did just have a little chuckle as well as in the credits is that there were about 9 people who were personal assistants to A.L.F.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I did. I read it and just scrolled by.
Meta joke.
Yeah.
So Jen,
yeah.
rate this show out of 10.
Out of 10.
Out of 10.
I'm going to go with a 5.
5. That's quite high.
It's not. It's middle of the road. You said
that's but all right. That's higher than I thought it deserved.
Middle of the road, Henry.
Well, I still enjoyed watching it. I thought it was a laugh. And I think this was probably the first episode, and this is not how I remember it. So I was a little bit disappointed, and it was cheesily. It gave me Crossroads vibes with the wobbly walls and stuff like that because it was so cheaply made.
I bet that set had been used for something else.
Oh God, yeah.
Another American sitcom.
Yeah,
So
in fact,
brown.
it did remind me a bit. Not Roseanne.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
There was another set, but yeah, but I would still go. I enjoyed it. As I said, it was still better than E.T. I wouldn't recommend E.T. and I wouldn't watch E.T. these days, but I would definitely go. If A.L.F was on the TV, I would watch it.
So Jen's giving it a 5. Jez?
Yeah, I'll probably go 4.5.
4.5.
I can't quite justify the full 5, but I would probably wait at least 5 minutes before skipping. So, yeah. I mean, it's one of those shows you can still watch. I definitely imagine, because I've watched Friends since I was very young, and I can imagine someone watching A.L.F. since they were very young, going back occasionally, rewatching it all, and then, not needing to do that for another 8 years.
Well, I gave it a 2 because it's trash. I didn't enjoy it.
Fair
The acting was bad. It wasn't funny. The puppetry was fine. The music was terrible. The sets were generic. I just didn't like it.
Hang on, this is episode 14?
Yep.
Have you liked any of the cartoons that you've watched?
Yes.
No, he's liked Nightmare.
Loved Nightmare.
Nightmare and Trapdoor.
Trapdoor was amazing.
Yeah, Brave Star.
I quite enjoyed Brave Star. probably for the wrong reasons.
That was ironic. But
I like stuff.
I knew Henry was not going to like this.
This was not
definitely
good.
not a Henry show.
No, it was proper.
It's a sitcom for a start, and it's got puppets in it and bad acting.
And they were trying to make me feel things I didn't feel, like the
Yeah.
whole little bit at the end where he's radioing out into the void, and the family just come and stand behind him, which is just trash. So I gave it 2. That's why I was so surprised you gave it a 5. You gave it a 4.5.
Yeah, but I'm not a grumpy old man like you.
This is true. It's
I
my
thought
job.
It was all right. I thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't hate it. That's the end of the day.
So combining all our scores, dividing them by 3, that gives A.L.F. a rating of 3.9.
Yeah.
Which puts it just below, if I remember correctly. Oh, I've just dropped me a bit of paper.
Don't say Wurzel Gummidge.
No.
Kill
It's
you.
higher than Wurzel. It is 1/10 of a point behind Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris scored a 4.
Wow.
Well, see, now I would have put this at Chuck Norris. I would probably never watch again with this.
And yet this scored lower than Chuck.
But this episode is definitely less enjoyable to watch than Chuck Norris.
Again, probably for the wrong reasons,
Yep.
but there you go. What are you going to do? So, any other thoughts?
Not really.
Not really. I mean, I did write sounds like Henry, but I'm not sure.
Sounds like what, A.L.F.?
No, I don't know if it was A.L.F. or something A.L.F. said, but it definitely sounded like you near the end of the show.
I don't think I'm quite that sarcastic, but
I mean, he did some lame dad jokes.
That's true.
Well, if you have any thoughts and opinions on Alf, did you used to love it? Do you, like me, and hate it? Have you watched it since it came out? Have you watched it recently? Please let us know. You can get in contact with us on Instagram, through our website, through email, serialreviewing@gmail.com. There are many, many ways to get in touch with us. Please go check out our merch store. There is T-shirts and mugs and stickers and bags and phone cases and hoodies and all kinds of good stuff on there for you to have a look at. Next week, we are watching Jeremy's first choice for this season, Gargoyles.
Hey, because we mentioned it last season, I think extensively, and didn't we?
We did. Well, I don't know if we mentioned it extensively, but Gargoyles was a big favourite of mine in the late 90s.
What was the episode we were watching that we mentioned Gargoyles on? It was was it DuckTales? Yeah, it was DuckTales.
It was DuckTales, yes.
Yes.
Because that's about the same time.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious about it. I want to see it. I've never heard of it until we started doing this. So
I loved Gargoyles. It had a fantastic story. It was an arc. It had a whole story.
Oh, man. We're going to watch the whole season now.
Fantastic. Well, possibly.
Fair enough.
All right, so next weekend, the unedited version of this will be up on YouTube, and our show notes will be on the website. Mm-hmm. If you haven't, go check out last episode. So I put the Transform ones up there. Not last episode. That was Transformers. We watched...
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris. Thank you. So Chuck Norris was up there with Jen's first set of show notes.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much. We shall catch you next time. Anyone else?
No.
So goodbye, everyone. We'll see you next time.
E.T. go home.
E.T. get out. Bye. That'll do.
You have to sing the video.
Yeah, that's fine. I can do it.
I was singing Weird Warriors.
I'm really surprised that you two liked that one as much as you did.
It was alright.
Genuinely.
I couldn't...
I picked it. So
I
can
That's true.
I've picked ones I hate.
Diss on the ones that I hate.
That's true.
Diss on the ones that I picked.
Henry picked Battle of the Planets.
Yeah, but that was funny to watch.
That was funny to watch. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't hate it, and I didn't. It was nothing to me.
It was nothing.
It was like I felt like I'd already watched
feelings.
it, but I've never watched it. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
No, rubbish. I had a vague feeling that I didn't like it, like a memory of not particularly enjoying it. But he's sarcastic. Do you know what? He always reminded me of like that 80s, 90s need to have like a rad character.
Mm-hmm. That might be the animated show you're thinking of.
Could be.
Because he wears a Hawaiian shirt in that.
Ooh. Oh, he does, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, memories.
He does on the talk show. He wears a Hawaiian shirt on the talk show.
Does he?
Yeah.
See, that brings back memories. I kind of remember that. Perhaps I did watch the cartoon.
Maybe that was it. I mean, it would have been worse here in America.
We might need to do the cartoon as well.
Yeah, maybe put that on the list.
Oh, so...
No, the animated series is 1987.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It came out the year after this
Damn.
started.
I thought
It was quick.
90s. Oh, damn.
And it only lasted for 2 seasons.
Fair. Maybe that means it's worse.
I can't imagine it's great.
Rad.
But, I mean, to be honest, though, when it came out in the States, that would have meant I was, 10 when this came out? We wouldn't have got it in the UK
87.
till a few years later.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it was very late. It might have been even the early 90s when we got it.
Yeah.
It would have been weird watching something like this in the 90s.
This was TV in the 90s.
Yeah.
A lot of evening television, or like Saturday evening television, they were American sitcoms. So this would have just slotted right in with The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and other stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would have been an interesting year.
So Jeremy and I, we had a little exercise the other night where we were adding some more shows to the list that we have.
Yeah.
which I think is up to about 230, 240 episodes.
Some 240. I think,
240 different shows. And we worked out that on our current schedule, we won't finish our list for another 39 years
Yeah.
or something like that.
That was if we were doing it like. Wait, no. How you were going to be in your 80s
Yes.
when you did that? So.
Yeah. Well, then we decided. Then we changed it. What if we do one every week? And that's
It's
still
like 19 or something.
yeah, still 19 years worth
Or
of.
like 15.
So we've got plenty of material, people. We're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do the back of the box card,
Mm-hmm.
and let's rate the theme tune. You can go first because theme and music is kind of your thing, Jeremy.
This was. I mean, it's so difficult to rate this show because I was viewing it all ironically, as if the creators were viewing it ironically. And
I think it would have been better if they'd leaned into that.
yeah, I really do. And I think if he'd have just been sarcastic to everybody and it was all just a big joke.
Bit of
that
fourth
would have
wall
been-
breaking.
Yeah, that would have been great. But no, so I give the theme song, knowing that it was like proper, I give it like a. It does its job. It just sounds like every single 80s sitcom song ever. So, 19.
19.
Yeah.
Well, I gave it a 5 because it was generic and rubbish.
Like it wasn't bad.
They could have left it out and it wouldn't have made a difference.
That's true.
Maybe just a brief voiceover from A.L.F saying what happened, and bang, you're into the show.
That's true.
What's it out of?
100.
Out of 100?
Yeah. I gave it 5
I
out of
think
100.
a 5 out of 100 is fair.
I wouldn't have given it much more. I'm going to give it a few more. I'm going to say 10 out of 100.
Okay.
This is harsh, guys.
Only because...
It's not our fault. They should have done better.
Only
Sorry.
because it reminded me of UK hospital dramas.
It was better than the Chuck Norris one, in my opinion.
See, no, the Chuck Norris one was there, and it was funny.
No, only because he's
Because of Chuck Norris. Yeah.
You take the Chuck Norris out. As
But
a song,
but it was
crap.
still. You could literally.
Yeah, but you have to take the theme as the whole thing, don't you?
You could have literally taken this out of the show, and it wouldn't have made a difference.
I think the opening is different to the theme, personally. But yeah.
Right, so that gives it a whopping 11 for the theme tune, which I think might be the
11?
lowest we've had so
Did
far.
you average our scores then?
Yep.
Oh wow. This doesn't seem very fair.
You should have given it a higher score then and dragged the average up.
19.
Educational, Jen.
Oof.
What was the educational value of this?
Don't leave rogue aliens with your cat.
Bless you.
Bless me. Sorry.
It's all right. This is the after show. Nobody cares.
Nobody watches it.
I don't think there was a lot of educational value. I know that there was in other episodes. They did try to drag it in there. Oh, hang on. What is it? I learned from Sesame Street.
Well, he said something about an eye and something about
Cows being out of place on the platform.
Yeah,
or something.
Like that. Yeah.
Anyway, so educationally, is this out of 100 as well?
Yeah, they're all out of 100.
That's probably going to get a 10 as well.
10 again.
Yeah.
Well,
Because there was probably something in there, but I can't think of it either.
I learnt nothing. The only information I got from it is people are stupid, hairy little aliens are manipulative, and idiots try to talk to pulsars. So I got a 6. Which is a piss poor score, I know.
Well, the space stuff wasn't wrong.
It wasn't wrong,
And
but he's an idiot.
They did confirm Area 51 is working on aliens. So,
Yeah, but we know that now.
I'll give a 20 for that one as well.
20 as well.
Just to balance the score out.
Nah.
Yeah.
See, I think Jeremy liked this way more than he's letting on.
I think he did as well.
It meant nothing to me. This is the thing. It's not that it was bad or good.
Well, it got a better score for educational value than it did for the theme. It got a 12.
So I don't think... I just thought there's going to be less educational stuff out there than, like, one. Like, stuff that's trying to sell you stuff is worse than stuff that just doesn't have any educational value.
Yeah.
Like, that's why Jace should be pretty low, I think.
Fair enough.
And Transformers.
Well, third category is weirdness. and I gave it a 32, which is the highest score I gave this show for anything. Because I think it was unintentionally weird. I think there was some weirdness going on in the direction of the show, as opposed to what they wanted it to be, and what it actually was.
Something's obscured here.
Yeah.
And A.L.F looks weird.
A.L.F looks like everyone. Everyone's got a relative that looks vaguely like A.L.F.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 32 for me for weirdness, which is a wonderful score. Jennifer.
I don't think it was weird at all.
So?
I thought I was quite at home with A.L.F. As I said, I kind of... Yeah, he was an alien, but I kind of saw him through the 6-year-old eyes and he was just a talking dog.
Talking dogs are kind of weird.
Yeah, I didn't find him weird at all.
So?
I maybe should have found some weirdness. I think, yeah.
Maybe this speaks about more about you.
I think
than
I
it does.
found... Yeah, probably. I think I found the military... Well, the lack of the military kind of... I found that a bit weird.
No official response, really.
No official. You just got this wishy-washy bloke that turned up, told all of the state secrets, believed them completely when they said that they didn't have anything, and then sodded off. That was weird.
Far too trusting, yes. Agreed.
Far too trusting. But I think it's probably going to get 15
15?
for weirdness, because I didn't find it weird at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a 15 from Jen.
Well, for the weird touching of the kids, for the weird
Oh
filming,
yeah, that! You got points for that.
for the weird filming of the mum, for the weird response to the sister's pillow party or pajama party, to the weird like I don't know, like response to the neighbor, and like the weird stuff going on behind the scenes, as well as the juxtaposition between being a short person, a puppet, and Ron Swanson. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna join you. I'm gonna say 30 as well. 30. Yeah.
30, 30.
Yeah.
Okay. That gives it a grand total of 26 for weirdness.
Because it's not stupidly weird. It's not like surreal, but it's there's some weird stuff going on.
Well, that makes it, according to last week's, that makes it weirder than Chuck Norris,
That's true.
which I think is fair.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Alien crash landing is a bit weirder than Chuck Norris.
So, impact, awesomeness. How would you rate this, Jennifer?
Well, it was quite popular with kids. So it did have a big impact on children in the late 80s, early 90s. You know, there are some kids that really loved this TV show. So it had some impact on society. I mean, the fact that it managed to chunger out, like, what?
Well, almost 100 episodes.
Yeah, and then there's all the games. It got 3 spin-off TV shows. It got a movie. So is this out of 100 again?
100 again.
Impact, I reckon at least 55, 60.
55, wow.
It's a big impact.
Yeah.
If you ask anybody, especially of our age, do you remember A.L.F?
I agree that there...
9 times out of 10 people will go, oh yeah. Most of them will go, oh god, that was that terrible kids TV show. But I guarantee most of them watched all of the episodes when they were a kid.
It's true.
I can imagine that there were many kids in the States in the late 80s who didn't have something with A.L.F's face on it.
Oh yeah, an A.L.F pillowcase.
Or a rubber or a pencil or a pencil case or something.
I think we had some A.L.F merch in our house.
I'm sure I did.
And we were... I think actually that Alison was a big A.L.F fan. She'll probably kill me if she ever
Your
heard
sister?
that. Yeah, my little sister. My little sister. Because she would have been... By the time we got to see this, she would have been 10. So she would have been like prime.
Yeah, that would have been the right age for it.
Yeah. And I do remember some A.L.F merch. I also remember some of my friends... I definitely remember that board game. Playing it when we used to go. Yeah, we used to...
Well, that's the first time. No, we've never had... I don't think we've ever had a game that someone remembers.
Well, we used to go to, when we were little, so I'm talking like primary school age, we used to go to a... what do you call them? Oh, ladies' house.
Babysitter?
Yeah, not babysitter.
Minder?
Childminder.
Childminder.
Oh, after school. And she had 2 young sons. that were about the same age as us, but they were unbelievably spoiled, and they had all of the toys for everything ever. I mean, it was an awesome house to go and play with and spend a couple of hours. And I was aging out a little bit, but I was still at that age where it was still cool that I could go and play and nobody would mock me or anything. Because I was playing with my little sisters and their friends, you know. So I remember them I think it was them that had the A.L.F board game. Because I do remember that. Lots of A.L.Fs. And I've just had a look at the picture and it looks really familiar.
Very specific.
So a 55.
Yeah,
impact
definitely.
From you. Jez?
I mean, I agree. I mean, it obviously had impact on yourself.
I don't know whether it's a good thing.
I mean, I knew what A.L.F was, so that's got to say something to it. I thought A.L.F was from the 90s, and I thought the cartoon was more popular than the actual show itself was, from what I'd known. But I mean, it had impact, like you say. There is some impact there. I think it loses points for the fact that everybody probably does go, oh, geez, A.L.F. I remember that. Ugh.
I think at best they'll go, oh, A.L.F.
Yeah.
I used to watch that.
Yeah.
I've got no opinion on it now.
I think
Pretty
the
much.
animated series is on Boomerang and things like that. You know, Cartoon
Maybe.
Network. Maybe when...
I don't know.
I think
maybe.
that in the future we should watch
We should
the
watch
animated
the animated
series.
one, definitely. Even if it's just a little bonus thing we do, but
Yep.
yeah, we do that. Like we said, we'd watch Gatchaman and probably watch GoBots and stuff.
Oh yeah, GoBots.
Or
That's
like-
on the list. GoBots
yeah.
is on the list on its own.
Oh,
yeah.
that's fine. But yeah, so I'm gonna give it 35.
35.
Yeah, because and for something to be culturally impactful, I mean, whilst yes, if people remember it, that's a good thing, but it also helps if people liked it or like it now.
I don't know, for it to have impact, it doesn't have to be good or bad. It doesn't have to be good impact. It can be bad
It's
impact.
also personal impact.
This is the impact. This is however you want to interpret
okay.
it.
Okay, no worries.
Well, that gives it a grand score of 39.
What did you vote as?
I gave it what did I give it? 28. Did I not tell you?
No.
28. I gave it a 28
Why? Justify that.
because for the same reasons. It was everywhere in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Although thinking about it, if before this I would have said that this was an early 90s
Yeah.
show.
I thought that.
But for the same reasons, I remember this show. I remember A.L.F. I could tell you quite a bit about it. I remember the merchandise. I'm beginning to remember the cartoon, but it's the merchandise. Really, A.L.F. was everywhere. He was lit. His face was on everything. It's like corporate executives decided that A.L.F. was the shit, and the kids will love him. So bosh, everywhere.
But that was safe to say that the late 80s, early 90s, that was everything with kids' TV shows.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you can buy Star Wars sheets, you could buy Transformer sheets, you could buy A.L.F. cereal.
I still want Star Wars sheets.
My Little Pony cereal. You could buy
Not
Care
Transformers
Bears.
ones, man.
If somebody gave me Star Wars bed sheets, I would be really happy.
They're added to Henry's OnlyFans wish list.
Yeah, I'll put them on my Amazon wish list if you want to find them. Present.
And I'd love some Transformer ones. Original animated. Get on.
None of the new crap.
No, screw that.
Well, okay, so A.L.F. scored a 39 for impact. As much as I've dumped on it, it scored a 39 for impact, which is significantly higher than Chuck Norris, who got an 11 overall out of 100.
Yeah. I think also to add to that, Jenny needs A.L.F. bedsheets now as well.
Yes, you do. You need an A.L.F. pillow so you can a furry one so you can snuggle up with it.
Yeah. A.L.F.'s biggest fan.
So there, out in our little on the sofa, you're the biggest fan.
Yeah. Just like you're the biggest fan of Wurzel Gummidge. Oh.
Do you know what? Part of me, I'm really quite excited to see what's going to be worse than Wurzel Gummidge.
Yes.
What are we going to watch?
We're
and
always
just-
looking for the next Wurzel Gummidge or the Wurzel Gummidge of the series.
I'm looking forward to something else to hate.
Yes.
So Gargoyles next week.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of Gargoyles before? Do you remember it?
Yeah, I remember watching it.
You do remember it? Was it because I wasn't in the country when Gargoyles came out? I was in the States at the time.
Yeah, what year did it come out?
That was early 90s, very early 90s.
93.
What year did you go to the
93,
States?
95 I left the country, but that's where I remember watching it in the States.
Oh yeah, so it wouldn't have come out in the UK. It would have been after
Yeah,
that
it
because
would
it
have been
wasn't. It's a US.
I'm guessing. I don't actually know. I've not done the research on it yet.
So we're talking what, late 90s?
Yeah. Well, Gargoyles is one of the shows that it's one of the reasons I wanted to do the podcast. Or it's one of the because I love Gargoyles.
Oh, it's one of the one of the progenitors
Yes.
of serial viewing.
Yeah,
I love the characters. I love the storyline. I like the animation, which is very of its time.
I do remember watching it. I remember watching it. I reckon it was around about the time of Teenage Mutant Ninja Hero, Mutant Ninja Hero Turtles, whichever one it is.
Ninja Hero Ninjas.
That's going to be a big show.
Turtles.
That's going to be a big show.
Mixed opinions.
That's going to be an interesting show.
Yeah.
For reasons.
Anyway, yes, Gargoyles.
Gargoyles. Okay. So that's what we're watching next week.
Gargoyles.
There's loads of A.L.F clips on YouTube, but very few full episodes in English. So we did find it on Dailymotion if you want to check it out.
I mean, if you know German, you're good to go.
Yeah. You know German, Jeremy? You could watch in German.
I mean, it might help.
Watch them side by side.
Yeah.
One in English and one in German. You can really get the sarcasm.
Learn German through A.L.F.
Do you think the sarcasm in A.L.F would come across the same, or would it come off even more harsh in German?
Apparently, the Germans.
Well,
liked
they loved it.
So
Yeah.
They probably didn't even hint the sarcasm. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. That's been our after show. We will see you next time for Gargoyles. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Jenny. Thanks, Jeremy.
Cheers, Em.
Bye.
Bye.
Later, dudes.